Hello and welcome to the No Ceilings podcast on the Turtlesmith network. What is going on, Vincent?
Nothing much. What's up, Courtney?
Nothing much. Just here. It's getting a little cold outside and
A little
chilly.
Ugh.
So, what have you been doing for the last week or so?
Trying to stay warm.
I feel that.
Man.
You had any chili?
Haven't had no chili yet though.
Okay. What you cooking these days?
I mean, I'm still on the grill. Best time for me to get on the grills in the wintertime.
I know you lying. What you fixing on the grill?
Man, see, you gonna put me on the spot. So I made some fried catfish, and then you already know what I did. I smoked that joint about 20 minutes, Bobo style.
That's what's up.
Oh boy,
Bobo's.
Oh yeah, Bobo. Shout out Bobo's Chicken. Yeah, I ain't always there, but yeah.
If you ain't been there, go there.
Please do. You don't know what you missing.
Okay, all right. Well, what about you've been fixing some tacos lately?
No tacos, but definitely making those soon. Heavy request from the kids. Everybody wants them.
I was gonna say, is there an expectant date, a date when you're going to let us know?
2025.
We gotta wait that long?
Yeah, you're gonna wait. You're gonna wait just a little bit.
Child, please.
Yeah, we're gonna ride these holidays out. I'm gonna rest up. I'm gonna hit it hard for you.
I'm gonna call them kids and see if we can get an early date. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna work. What I call
Kilolo.
Kilolo,
Yeah.
What's up? Let us know. Need you to do me a favor. All right, well, let's get into it. So we are in phase 2, step 4, where we're talking about employment. Our goal here is to learn the basics about hiring people for your business and how you pay them. So let's get into it.
Let's get into it. What you need to know about employees. First, you go hit up your cousin Ray. Let him know you starting business and you got a couple of dollars for him.
Okay.
That work?
No,
that ain't gonna work. No, it ain't gonna last too long.
It's not. And let's talk about the reason why it won't last.
Because it's not a realistic expectation. You're gonna pay for what you get. If you're only gonna pay a couple of dollars, you're probably not gonna get very much effort from that person.
Yeah.
So you always want to keep that in mind when you are hiring employees.
Yeah, because I think I hate it when people say, our company is like a family. We're like a family here.
Yeah.
Because you've gone through that, right? Like you've worked for a company and everybody says, oh, we're like a family here. And the reality is we're not like a family. Because this is a transactional relationship.
Right.
You come in and for the hours of 8 to 5 or part-time hours, whatever it is, you're giving me work in exchange for your check.
That's it.
And so that's a transactional relationship. So this is not like, we may have some moments that are memorable.
Right.
And that are fun, but we are not a family.
Definitely not a family.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, sometimes we don't even deal with everybody in our family.
Yeah. And do you really want to work with your family? Because then you think about it. When you start working with your family. Now, don't get me wrong. There is an instance where you can work with your family. You know, I, as a bail bondsman, a lot of times, if you look at the bail bonds agencies around here, they are family businesses.
Right.
And so you can work with your family, but it's still transactional.
Right, absolutely.
But with that, you have employees, there has to be a level of respect there. You have to know that, this person is responsible for these things, and you can't bring your family relationships into your working relationship. It has to be separated.
It has to be separated. There's really no room for your family business at the job.
Yeah.
And vice versa. You don't want to take your job home.
Yeah.
But we're talking about employees. Just keep in mind that these are people. They come, they expect to be paid, and they want to go home. They want to be treated like a person. So you just want to treat them fairly. Give them good pay, be fair on the workload, and depending on where you are in your company stature, you offer benefits, health benefits, maybe a salary, other perks. Just different companies offer different incentives to work for that company.
Right. And health insurance is a big thing. And, you want to make sure that if you're offering, a lot of times when people are looking for a job, they're wanting the hourly pay, they're wanting health benefits. If you don't offer health benefits, they've got to have, legally, they have to have health insurance somewhere that they can account for when it's time to, and I'm not sure, don't quote me on this, but I think that at the end of the year, if you don't have insurance for a certain amount of months, you have to report that on your taxes. So if you're without a job, or if you started a new job, you have to have all of the documentation to support that, to show that you had insurance throughout the year.
Right.
Or I don't know if there's a penalty for that or what, but it's, and like I said, don't quote me on that, but I know that there are forms that they send you at the end of the year that you have to file for the health insurance portion. But people want retirement. Yeah. People want raises. If you're, they've worked and you are increasing their workload, they want to be paid for their time. So you want to make sure that you're given a fair amount of pay.
And not only that, inflation, the cost of everything goes up.
Indeed.
Every year it goes up. And if the pay is not going up, you're not going to be able to retain that employee for very long, because people have expectations they have to meet at home as well, just as well as you as the employer. Yeah. So just kind of some of those things to keep in mind.
What about hourly versus salary?
So I've been paid hourly and I've been on salary. Can't really say which one is better than the other, because they both have kind of a trade-off. Salary, you usually can't get overtime, so you cap out, and you either work hours that you can use as comp time, or you're almost working for free. Hourly just depends on that wage. You get that double time, but you're going to put in some hours for that work. Yeah. And for that money,
Yeah. And then let's talk about taxes and payroll. So, you want to make sure that when you're paying employees, that the payroll taxes is going to be money that's taken out of your paycheck. Employees are going to be responsible. Employers are responsible for deducting that information from your taxes and paying their share. The common taxes that you usually see are going to be like your federal taxes, your Social Security and Medicare taxes, and your state taxes. Employers, for your Social Security tax, your employer and the employee. I cannot say that word today. I done stumbled over that like 10 times, my Lord. Employees and employers both contribute to Social Security and Medicare. Taxes is 6.2% for Social Security and 1.45% for Medicare. Your state taxes, some states don't charge state taxes, states like Texas and Florida. Right? Yeah. But there are also, it depends on each state. So you want to make sure that you know what the taxes are for each state.
Okay.
All right. Also, let's talk about payroll forms. There's certain forms that you'll need to use to report and track payroll. And so you've got a W-4 form that's filled out by employees to set up their tax withholdings. I'm stumbling over that word again. Withholdings. Boy, she can't talk today.
Okay,
triple,
kind of feel a little
sucker Sheesh, get it together, girl.
Get them tongue twisters up.
Anyway, gross. Your W-2 and your W-3, or your W-3, which reports how much employees earned and how much tax was withheld. And then you've got the 941 and your 944 form, which reports how much employer paid taxes. Did I say it?
You got it.
I got it.
You got
Nailed
it.
And then the final one is your 1099 form, which is used for contractors who are not regular employees. You know, they essentially they call those your 1099 employees.
Okay.
And so, you know, the easiest way to keep track of all of this information to me is to make sure that you have some sort of payroll software. The payroll software is going to make everything a little bit easier. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
You know, tools like QuickBooks make it easy to calculate and track your payments and fill out any forms automatically. A lot of people do use QuickBooks, ADP. Or Paychecks, they'll handle things for you. I think they're, you know, you think about Paycom. What is the other one? Heartland. Is it Heartland Payments, Payroll, or something like that?
Yeah.
They have services that they provide, I think, that are really good too. It just all depends on, you know, what type of business you have and the services that you need provided. Excellent. You know, you have 1 or 2 employees, there's no reason for you to pay one of those larger companies until you get to that point.
Yep.
So, you know, you just essentially, if you use the larger companies, you just provide them with the information. They input that information in, and you know, they kick out, you know, reports and stuff that you need in order to keep track of everything.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit about independent contractors versus employees. Where you said independent contractors, they're going to use that 1099 for their tax purposes. Employees usually going to have a W-2, W-4. Waiting for my W-2, girl. Let it get them income taxes.
That's right.
Boy, it get real crazy around that time too, boy.
Yeah, it do.
But these independent contractors, who usually work for themselves, those are the people like your plumbers, your bricklayers.
Yeah.
Epoxy layers, shout out concrete design. Employees work directly for the business, the company, you, me, the business owners. Yeah. So key takeaways from hiring employees is about finding the right people, paying them fairly. I like to say paying a lifestyle wage. I like to make sure people get paid what they're worth and just a little bit more, just to know that they're appreciated. And also making sure taxes and paperwork are all done right.
Yeah. And I just want to say one thing. Like, you want to make sure that when you are determining who your independent contractor is versus your employee, you have to, I think that you should have yourself some type of checklist that you go through to determine which one they are. Right. Because misclassifying a worker can get you in legal trouble, and you definitely don't want to put yourself in that situation.
Right.
So that's kind of all I have. For that. Do you have anything else before we move to our business struggles and successes?
No, I think that was a very good point that you made about classifying the workers and stuff like that. So, Miss Business Lady, have you ever had to hire employees that weren't family members?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have. As a bail bondsman, I did have employees that worked in the office, and I think that we've kind of talked about this a little bit, and so I'm sorry for the redundancy if you guys have heard this before, but we have had employees that we've brought in. You hire, you look for the right person based on, what you need them to do, and I have employed people who have come in and have done an amazing job. I don't want to say her name, but I kind of want to give a shout out to our the office manager. She did such an amazing job during the time that our business was open. She handled everything from the walk-ins to ensuring that the clients came in and filled out paperwork properly, making sure co-signers filled out paperwork properly, to ensuring that when their payment, if they had a payment, their payment was due, they came in and they paid it on time. If they didn't, she was calling about collections. Like,
Yeah.
she stayed on top of everything. She
Mm-hmm.
did an amazing job, and I will forever be grateful to her for all of the things that she did. She made it so easy.
Right.
But you do also come across employees who you hire that may not be as seasoned or as experienced as she was. You know, she kept all of the paperwork up to date. She made it easy. So whereas you had bondsmen who were running in and out throughout the day, she's still getting everything uploaded in the system. So
Right.
she's got the paperwork going. Boom, she's got it done. And she definitely did the work. But for the bondsmen who were employed there, they were considered more or less 1099 employees.
Okay.
You know, so hourly versus independent. And, you know, and attracting and retaining good talent is really hard too, because while I picked up some really good employees, I've also had to let a couple go, you know, just because there have been instances where, you know, they and I can take full responsibility
Right.
for this. I may not have been paying them what they, to me it was a fair wage, but it was, they needed more than that in order to support their household.
Right.
And so there have been instances where people have stolen money from me. It's cash business. And so people have, you know, stolen money. Of course, wasn't able to get the money back, but
Right.
I was able to follow the trail because she is a skip tracer, baby.
Right.
And I was able to go and find the trail in which I needed to find out where the money was lost. The person that made the payment was adamant that they made that payment. We were able to go back and track cameras and all of the things, and you know, find out where the money was gone, but the paper trail was still there. And you know, sometimes you have to let people go. You know, but reality is, you know, you do your best to pick the right people, and they are good until they show you different.
Right.
You know, but with that being said, it's always 50-50. People are going to show you who they want you to see, you know, when you are applying for the job. So
Right. Absolutely. And it's a lot of times, like, I've hired a lot of people, and sometimes you're giving people a chance. Sometimes people have no experience. And sometimes those are the best
I was just going to say,
people
those are the people
to
I love.
hire. Because they, for one, they have that willingness to learn. So once they have that, they're full eyes on, they're carrying through, doing hands-on, and they're just retaining that knowledge. And then when you let them clip the wings and let them fly, it's like, that was a good pick.
That was a good call.
Yeah, I really appreciate this person. They come, they're on time, they do everything correct. And you got this other person that you gave, they never on time. They call in every chance they get.
They have the skill set, but they can be know-it-alls. They have a preconceived notion about the way that they feel like things should go.
Yep.
And I think that while it's good to have experienced people, you gotta love the ones that just don't.
Yeah.
You know, that's just me, and that's me. You know, I think that I like people that come in and they have new ideas or great ideas, because sometimes you can be doing something so long that you just you just get used to doing it that way.
Right.
And it's important that people open your eyes to a new way of doing things.
Right. And usually somebody with no experience doing something, like, well, they ask questions. Well, why don't you do it like this? And sometimes there's an answer for that. And sometimes there's no answer for that. And you're like, let's try it. You got a new set of eyes on the project. So, and it's fresh eyes. It's not one of those know-it-alls. It's just somebody that was curious And that curiosity kind of changed the process.
And another thing to that is there are people that come with those ideas that have experience, and they may be new to your business, and you've already tried that,
right?
And you don't want to discredit them by saying, "No, we're not going to do it." We can, I think there's a way to let people know, well, we have tried that in the past and it didn't work, but in a different scenario, it could work. And I think that we see that more. It's harder to try new things in a larger company than it is like in a small business, right? So in a small business, you can try a lot of different things. You can, throw stuff to the wall and see if it sticks. And if it doesn't stick, then you try something different. But when you have a larger team or you have a larger scale business, it may not be as easy to do that. Or if you don't have the software to support it, that's important too.
Yeah, definitely. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's harder to get those new ideas to stick to the board when it's a big room and you're that one person. You got to try to kind of infect the group with your idea to kind of get it to stick.
Yep. I agree. What about have you, I guess you kind of talked about successes. Have you ever had any employees that were not so good, or some hires that you were like, ugh?
Definitely. And it's hard, but you just got to let them go. A lot of times I just had to let them go. And you try to, be patient, work on it, correct it. Sometimes if you can see a person that's trying, that's different. But if you just know a person is that's just how they're going to be, you just have to cut your losses on that.
Were most of your employees independent contractors, or were they hourly employees?
Both. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Same. I only had a few, so
yeah,
half and half.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right. So you have anything else for struggles or successes?
I don't. I will say one thing. I will say that this is a very important step, even though you may be starting your business with just you. But I think that this is a very important. She still can't talk. Damn it. Important. It's a very important tip. This is a very important step.
Okay, there we go.
Bloopers.
Yeah.
Okay, it's important. And it's important because even if you're just working for yourself right now and you have no intentions on having anybody work with you, the way I started with my bail bonds.
Right.
I didn't expect to have to hire people or anything like that. If I would have done this, I think on the front end, in our phase 2, which is our preparing phase, then I think that there's also additional research that you kind of need to do in this step as well. You want to know about those forms that, all of those forms that we kind of talked about, those payroll forms. You want to know what they are, what they mean, how to fill them out. You want to make sure that if you are bringing on hourly employees and you're going to be offering them benefits, you've got to do the research for the benefits that you're going to be offering them. You want to already know what the scale is going to be for pay increases, or bonuses, or if you're going to give like mental health days or anything like that. You want to make sure that you've kind of laid all of that out. You don't want to just get them in there and they've been there for a year and you haven't even thought about it. You know?
Yeah.
So,
and that, just hearing that is a lot, and that could be overwhelming.
Yeah.
So definitely have to take the time to do the research, like you say, and just cross your I's and dot your T's.
That's how you gonna do me today? Bet that. All right. Well, with that being said, we are going to move on to our action items.
So this is where we give you our action steps to take away from the episode. So first thing you want to do is create a checklist for these action items.
Everything that we've talked about. So if we go back to it, we want to talk about taxes and payroll, pay rates, benefits, if they're going to be hourly or salary employees, if they're going to, if they're going to be 10 independent contractors, you want to make sure that you go through everything. So everything that we've talked about, you make sure you go through all of those steps and make sure that you've addressed them. All right, keep it rolling.
Yep. Start with payroll registration and deciding your payroll method, like Courtney just said. Begin hiring employees with clear pay and role definitions.
We didn't really talk about that.
No, we didn't.
And so when we talk about role definitions, that goes back to, I can't remember which step it is, but I'm going to tell you which step it is because I know right off the top of my paper and not in my head. Step 6. When you're building that training manual.
Right. Okay.
When you're in that, I know that we're building a training manual, but in that we talked about standard operating procedures. You could also potentially put in there job descriptions.
Right.
Roles. So you want to lay all of that out. Know what it is, what the expectation is for that role, so that you can have that already laid out, especially if you're going to be posting this job somewhere for people to apply.
Concrete mixer, bartender, assistant plumber.
I'm not going there today. Not going there today.
I thought I had you.
Yep. Nope. No plunging. So.
And last but not least, Courtney's fucking rubbing off on me. Last but not least, regularly review and refine your process as your business grows.
Yep.
I think that's very important because there's going to be people that are with you from the day that you start, and they're going to stick it out with you. Some people is not going to make it. But where you started is not going to be where those new employees, where you're still hiring new employees. So it's going to be a lot of changes that came from that first SOP, that first standard operating procedure manual that you created. So you need to constantly be updating that and making sure it's up to date and on point.
Not only that, as your business grows, say you, let's use the lemonade stand as an example. You have one lemonade stand.
Right.
And this lemonade stand is in the middle of Scissortail Park, essentially, and you have, a certain amount of business that you get in the summertime. But then you want to put another truck across town in Edmond at the Hafer Park or something.
Right.
And so you're looking at the amount of employees that you have for each truck and then how many you need in order to keep the business going so that you don't have these long drawn out lines and that kind of thing. So you can still be efficient.
Right.
You know, and so you have to look at that as your business grows. How do you take you don't want to overwhelm your employees. You want to pay them a fair rate for their time, but you don't want them overwhelmed and you don't want them to have work piled up to the point where they're ready to just throw in the towel.
Right.
So I think that those are...
You know about that, don't you?
Baby, I'm going to tell you some stories, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it cute. But... with that being said, you want to make sure that you have the right workload for employees, the right rate of pay, and everything that you need in order to be able to have a sustainable business.
Yep, and that also plays into morale of your employees.
Absolutely.
Like, you have to keep up the morale. If you want to retain the talent, you got to keep the talent happy.
And there's no age limit on that. You know, I use the lemonade stand, but you know, we talk about lemonade stands being a good business for children. You know, but kids get tired too. Yeah. You know, and you know, if you're working them too hard, that becomes, you know, a thing where they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go play. Yeah. You know, they don't care how much money you're bringing in. Right. So, you know, you just gotta, again, that's still morale. Yeah. You know, definitely. Regardless of age. So.
Do you have any more action items to add?
I don't. I think this was a pretty cut and dry episode. I hope that everybody has taken at least one nugget from. Yeah.
I mean, from this, you should be able to get a few little nuggets from an employee, because if you haven't hired employees before, you will soon see when you get into that process exactly what we're talking about. If you have any more questions or concerns, please follow us on turtlesmith.com. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Peace.